Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Bubbles with Bethany. I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm excited to be back. I missed a week, and it always feels like it's been so long when I miss any time. So I am so excited to have you all here, and you guys are in for a treat today because we have a super, super special guest whose superpower I suspect is going to be like polar opposite of mine. So I'm going to learn something with all of you today about underwriting and numbers and all the things. We have Jordan Hegemann. Please tell me I said that right.
Very
Did I-
close. It's Hegemann.
Hegemann, not even close.
But Hegemann, I answer to that as well.
Okay. I actually heard somebody reference you as Jordan Hegemann the other day, and I was like, oh my God, I've been saying it wrong the whole time. But I still wasn't saying it correctly. So my apologies. I probably should have asked that right before I
No.
came
I mean,
on.
it's a hard name. I can't tell you how many times people just butcher it. So
Yeah, I get mine is misspelled and mispronounced a lot as well. But we are so excited to have you this week on Bubbles with Bethany. Cheers to you. I know you have your Stanley probiotic. I've got my bubbly water right now. Cheers. I'm so happy to have you here. Everybody, you're going to want to stick around because we are going to have a fun giveaway game at the end. And we are going to give you all a chance to ask your burning questions of Jordan Hageman. And so if you guys have questions, you can either save them, you can throw them in the chat, get ready to use the hand raise function, all of the things. You guys might have received, if any of you actually open emails, I'm really interested to know actually by a show of hands who actually opens and reads emails. If you have not received yet the survey asking you, what do you love? What do you hate? What do you want to see improved? What can you just not get enough of on Bubbles? I'm really taking that feedback to heart. Jade is taking that feedback to heart. We do want to make some changes to make sure that you guys are all getting what it is that you come here for every week, or to get you to come here when it's harder for people to come here, whatever, to get people here and in this community. So please fill it out. If you can. I think that Jade is going to put the link to the survey in the chat. So I would appreciate that if you guys could do that. There it is. If you guys could do that for us, just so we can make this better for you. All right. So without further ado, you can think about your questions. I'm sure that our conversation is going to lead to more questions. Jordan, welcome.
thank you. Thanks
You.
for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. So let's kick it off with, the same question that I always ask everybody, because I'm really interested in knowing, I love to gather my OPs, my other people around me, and find out like who's really good at the stuff either I suck at or I hate to do or
Yes.
whatever. And you have a big one because I both hate it and suck at it. But maybe that's not your superpower, as you say. Maybe there's something else that I don't even know about. So I really want to know, Jordan, what is your unique superpower?
Yeah. That it's interesting because as you alluded to, I mean, numbers and underwriting is something that I feel like most people know me as. I had the phrase coined underwriting girl at one point, but that's what people called me. And I definitely, that is a superpower of mine. And it's something that I call it my area of genius, where I truly enjoy underwriting and really love numbers and they make sense to me. But I think bigger than that is the ability to help new, seasoned, super outside the box people understand what makes a deal good, what makes a deal bad, how those numbers function, and really like painting that story for people. I feel like is truly the superpower that I didn't even know was a superpower until recently.
I love that so much because I mean it is the you can't deny the numbers, right? I
It's
mean,
true,
there's no emotion there. There's no like, oh my God, but I love it, which is kind
but
of
it's
where
so pretty.
I like to go there. That's the really where I get stuck is, but I want to go there. And so the numbers though will tell you whether you can
Right.
make it work or you can't. And I think it's so important because you can get, I mean, I suppose you can just get even more emotional about it if the numbers work, right? But
Oh, for sure.
let's talk about what kind of pushback do you get when it's like, well, can you just move this around and make it look like this? I mean, you must hear that from.
Oh goodness, I can't tell you the things that I've heard, but yeah, lots of pushback of, oh, well, so and so told me this. I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's brokers. So I love my brokers and I'm so grateful for my brokers, especially in, the multifamily space, because I, lean on them heavily. But um, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is someone told me. Someone told me that the rents could be increased this much, or someone told me that, the market cap rate is this. And I was like, well, that's not what the data says. So I think bigger than just the numbers too is understanding the market, understanding the possibilities, and realistic possibilities rather than hopes and dreams of possibilities. Because, those are important to know as well. But you want to, build your underwriting off of realistic, achievable numbers.
Right, right. And even maybe conservative numbers when you're dealing with
For
investors.
sure.
Because
Yes, I am the conservative queen. So,
I love to hear that though. And because you deal with a lot of people who are syndicating deals, not just
right.
single family and or smaller deals, right? You're like, this is going to go to investors. I've got to present something that I can defend, or that the at least the
Yeah.
sponsor can defend, right? If something goes
Oh,
sideways.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that's another pushback I get often from operators and syndicators saying, oh, well, I know we could do this. And, you know, I, I often push back as well is, well, that's not what the data says. So let's go with what the data says. And then if we overperform and, we show the investors, look how awesome we were able to do, that's way better. And why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah, you definitely would. So when you're doing underwriting for someone and you're doing consulting now for
Yeah.
a select few clients, right? That
Yes.
you've got to apply to be a client of Jordan's, and be super super special. And so you're doing that underwriting now. Tell me about your role there. Are you just I know this isn't really true, but the way I'm going to say it, throwing data that they give you, that the sponsors give you into a spreadsheet and going, here you go, right? Or you
Yeah.
said the data, right? You're like are you looking up data? Are you checking?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, the process typically looks like I'll look at what's presented from a sponsor team and um, pick out. There's lots of times where I can just bird's eye view say, yeah, this isn't right. So if that's the case, I'll immediately point those things out as, hey, I'm going to look into this, but this doesn't seem right. And then obviously doing that research. Pulling rental comps, that's a big thing, especially in multifamily, is there's so many apartments in every market that you never know what the broker or the team is comparing a property to. So pulling really like quality comps to have a good understanding of what's possible for the property, understanding the area, pulling neighborhood scout reports, understanding the crime in the area, the income in the area, because those are all factors that are going to drive the performance of a property. And then once I've got that data, then yes, it is plugging that information into a template, and kind of starting to paint that picture of the business plan and how the property is going to perform over the course of of the whole time, whether that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. What is that property going to do, and how is that property going to grow and change throughout that whole time?
Okay, I love that. And that's so valuable. So, so valuable. So I know your sweet spot has traditionally been multifamily.
Yeah.
Do you veer off into other asset classes?
Good question. Yeah, so I actually Nico's on here. We actually just had this conversation yesterday because I I do feel that multifamily has been my sweet spot for so long, and I have honestly gotten comfortable in multifamily and thought a little bit of a scarcity mindset, I would say, in other assets because I understand them and I'm happy to underwrite them, but I didn't ever feel like I was an expert. And over the course of the last few weeks, somebody had pushed me to, look at these different asset classes. And why are you only looking at multifamily? Bethany has, hotels and looking at ranches and things like this. Like, why don't you look at those things? And I had to look at myself and say, why am I not looking at those things? So the more that I'm researching and learning about these asset classes, the more I understand that underwriting is underwriting. And I do understand, all of those different asset classes. So yes, I'm getting into those more and more. Boutique hotels is one that I'm super interested in and actually been working on, helping a couple clients with some projects there. So yes, there's different asset classes that I'm looking into.
I love it because, of course, my sweet spot, right? You just
Yes.
boutique hotels and interesting properties that we want to visit, which is, of course, where I get stuck, right?
Right.
But I want to visit there, so it surely must pencil, right?
Yeah. I
Right.
want to go there, so everybody else wants to go
Everyone's
there
gonna
too.
go. They just don't know yet. I haven't told them yet that they should go.
Oh, it's
It's just
true.
good
I
marketing.
will tell you, I never knew how much I wanted to go to Belize until you had the Mariposa, and I'm like, I at once a month at least, I'm telling my husband, so when are we gonna go here? When are we going? Like, remember this place? We're going, right?
Yeah. Well, let me know. We will hook you up. My daughter and I are actually taking our vacation there in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
And
that's so
wait,
exciting.
yeah, I'm super excited. It's amazing. And we just had our meeting today and everything is going swimmingly. So I would love to talk to
Good.
you though about some underwriting projects as well.
Of
I
course.
don't want to get your passports ready. That's right. That's because we're going to go to Belize and Costa Rica. Uh,
Yes.
I do have a lot more questions for you, but I don't want to get too far into it without asking the main question that I always want to know. And I realized I did a little more visioning because I'd like to do, that's my favorite part of what I do is I get to do some visioning, right?
Yeah.
And how do we exponentially expand this vision? How do we 10x, right? And the thing I thought about is it really is about creating a conscious wealth community by gathering up these amazing properties, creating and curating these bespoke experiences and all of the things, but also supporting people in their journey to create conscious wealth, which then
Yeah.
begs the question though, what does that mean? I know what it means to me. And I always want to ask everybody that I get a chance to talk to is what does conscious wealth mean to you?
Yeah. I love this question. And the first time I heard you ask that question, I was like, what does that even mean? Like what? And so I thought about it for a while. And um growing up, I grew up in a very, poor family. We struggled to get by. We were, constantly scraping. And I, as a young adult, just built this awful, like, dependent on money. And as I, got married and started having a family, I realized that that was such an unhealthy habit. I understood, what money could do for me, but I wasn't allowing it to what it needed to do for me. And once I had that mindset shift of money as a tool, and that's what conscious wealth means to me is, understanding that money is just a tool. And the more that you educate yourself and the more that you put yourself in your area of genius, the more that you put yourself in that your true form, the more freely that that tool is going to be able to work for you, and the more freely that you're going to be able to have that tool flow. It comes in, it goes out, and it continues to come in and it continues to go out. And I think the once you shift your mindset to more of that conscious wealth and understanding that it is just a tool, the more power you have over your money and the less power it has over you.
I love that so much. And I agree with you. I like how you said it, which is different than that's the thing is it's different than how everybody says it because it's
Right.
it's your own like meaning for it. And I really do love that. And I mean, I really have decided that my career is dedicated towards helping people achieve that, whatever it means to them.
Right.
It's something horrible, like, you're gonna hurt
Yeah.
people. I haven't heard
Please
anybody.
don't do that.
We haven't had anybody on the show that would say anything like that. So I haven't come across it. I'm sure it exists. They won't be on Bubbles. So I really want to support people in that, in that journey. And I think it's so cool that we've found ourselves in this community of people that are mostly like-minded, really.
Right.
How many times I hear people say that they've shifted to an abundance mindset, and
Yes.
even just the self-awareness to say that, right, is not something I grew up with. Like,
Oh, me
everyone
either.
looks at me
That's
like
some
I'm crazy
yeah.
if I say that.
For sure. Same thing goes for me. My sister and I often have the conversation of like, oh, when you're recognizing, the error in the way that you're thinking or the error in what you're doing. And like that's half the battle is even just recognizing it because, then you have the ability to change and grow in that space.